You are a god. Accept it. Embrace it. What do gods do in their spare time? They have their fun by watching, even tinkering with, the exploits of their favored or cursed heroes. Yeah, those are heroes. But some might say these are wasteful amusements, even unbecoming. But gods need sport too. Who and what are we to judge? Anyone who watches sport knows that it's all the funner when betting is involved. The world of the gods is no different. Thus, you, as a god, are competing with other gods for the glory of the hero you favor or on the shame of the hero you oppose. Careful, you don't know exactly which heroes your fellow gods favor and which they do not. Figuring out that puzzle might be more important than getting caught up in the heroic tales that spring forth when humans meet gods. Okay, so this is Heroes and Gods. Introduction to the game. It's been play tested about a half a dozen times now. It plays very well, plays in about 60 to 90 minutes. Lots of fun, very gripping game, and I want to take you through a quick 5-minute introduction to this game so you kind of understand roughly how it plays. So in this game, you're starting off as a god. So you're, for example, Hades is one god, Aphrodite, etc. So you're going to be handed a god card. And at the same time, at the start of the game, you're also going to be given a hero. So no one else is going to know what hero you've been given. In this case, I've been given yellow, which corresponds to Jason. And there's four heroes in the game. And that hero is the hero that I am either supporting or opposing. I'm also given these two cards, a support or an oppose, and I have to choose which one I want. So whether I want to oppose Jason or support Jason as a god. In this case, let's say I'm going to oppose him, so I'm going to undermine. So basically, I'm Hades after all. So I'm Hades, and I'm going to be undermining Jason. So those go face down underneath my card, and then the game, other players do the same thing. So I'm playing against Aphrodite and Poseidon in this game. I'll just leave them there so you can see it. And they and the three of us are playing heroes and gods. So they're also going to be given another hero, and they're going to be either supporting or rejecting that hero. And I've got to try to figure out which heroes they're supporting or rejecting, and at the same time trying to maximize my score by undermining Jason, because my final score is going to be basically, in this case, because I'm undermining Jason, it's whatever glory he lost in the game, plus the ability of me to sort of determine what Aphrodite and Poseidon, those other players, are supporting or rejecting. How do I do that? Well, in the game, it's quite simple. We have a number of quests that all the heroes are trying to compete to complete. So for example, we have this Trojan horse, that's a quest. On my turn, I get 2 actions. So my first action is a free feat action. What is a feat action? A feat action is when I place a monster, which are these little cubes here. So there's yellow, red, and purple. And I place one of those monsters onto one of the regions of the world. So let's just do a quick view of the regions of the world here. So this is ancient Greece. There's 6 regions. You see them up there: Epirus, Macedonia, Asia Minor, Rhodes, Crete, and Peloponnese. And each hero is in each of those regions, and those regions are basically where quests happen. So for example, if someone takes the Trojan horse quest, they could place it over here in Rhodes, and then that would activate the quest in Rhodes. And I'll go through exactly what happens when you activate a quest in a region. But once you've sort of activated that quest, let me just put this back, then what happens is potential glory goes into the quest. So any of these glory cubes that are on the red color go into the red, and any on the blue color go into the blue. And that quest is now active, and that glory is available for the heroes to come get it exploits. So that's placing the quest, and when you do that, you would move up the cost of the quest in order to take on that. So now, once the quest has been taken, here other players on their turn can move heroes over to Rhodes to try to succeed at this quest. And that's going to happen through a series of movements where players taking turns are going to be sort of placing new quests. So for example, Boar Hunt. Here's the Boar Hunt. Is going to be placed up in Asia Minor. And then, let's say Medusa. There's another quest. Is going to get placed up in Macedonia. And yellow goes on there, red stays there, and blue goes to there. And so that's going to kind of continue. And then maybe some heroes are going to move around to here. And then Hercules maybe eventually gets over here. And now we have a final, let's say, after all the movement is done and the heroes have finished moving the gods have finished moving the heroes around and adding glory and putting monsters and exploits onto the board like this. and the round is sort of over when 2 of these piles get depleted. So there's 2 of these monster piles run out of monsters. So there'd actually be a lot more on the board. Let's just throw some on there. So once all those monsters are sort of on the board and there's a bunch of glory on the board, then there's a voting round. So a voting round, each god is going to get cards that look sort of like this, depending on the number of quests that are active. So 0037 is what I have here. And they're going to place one of these face down on each of the active quests in the game. And each god is going to do that. And then we're going to reveal all of the votes, add them up, and see if the support of the gods was enough to defeat the monsters. And if it was, then the heroes get the glory that is on the check mark plus any wild glory. And if it was a failure, if they didn't have enough votes, then they will lose the glory on the X plus whatever glory was wild. So that's the way that heroes gain and lose glory in the game. And so really what you're trying to do here is you're trying to maximize the glory for your hero. In this case, I'm anti-Jason, so I actually want Jason because remember, if you go back to my cards here, I'm opposing Jason. I would like him to be on quests that fail a lot and fail that lose a lot of glory. Because then what'll happen is my score, zip over here to the score, as Jason fails, this would go up the red track. So he's going to be losing glory like this, and if he's successful at quests, it'll go up this track. And I actually get points over here, and I lose points if he goes over here, so I want him to fail. And then at the same time, I want to try to figure out what glory, or what heroes the other players are supporting, or the other gods are for or against. So at the very end of the game, there's this little voting round where I have a Poseidon card, and I might say, oh, I think Poseidon is supporting Achilles. That's what this check mark means, and the red means is Achilles. So I would place Poseidon, that card under Poseidon, and then I would do the same thing for Aphrodite. I would take, say, let's say I think Aphrodite, she's opposing Hercules. I'd place that underneath, and then everybody would simultaneously reveal their guesses, and then we would have an adjustment. So basically every guess that you get right, if you get the other player right, you get bonus points, and if multiple people guess you get an increasing hit to your score. So if you're very obvious about your play, then you'll lose the game most likely because you'll lose bonus points. So it's a game of subtlety. It's basically trying to support your hero and make them be successful while not being too obvious about it, so that you don't lose in the game of subtlety that is the battle of the Greek gods. So that's Heroes and Gods. I wanted to keep this introduction to it very short, but yeah, Heroes and Gods introduction. Thanks.